Associate Editor of Literate, to extend a formal welcome to this gathering.
Good afternoon. It's again a very proud moment for Literate and the Institute of English when we have gathered for the Dr. P.K. Rajan Memorial Lecture. I think this is the first actual physical lecture that we are organizing after the COVID, and we had gone online for several talks in the series. So, and this is again a very special occasion because Literate is going to complete its 50th year, and we are celebrating the Golden Jubilee of Literate the coming year, 2025. So that makes this a particularly special lecture day. So my duty is to welcome everybody. So without much ado, I straight away go to my business. This particular lecture is an annual event, as most of us know, in memory of Dr. P.K. Rajan, who passed away in 2006, 2000. And this particular lecture is co-organized by the Institute of English, University of Kerala. So that's again another happy thing. So I will begin with Dr. Ajay Kumar sir will formally introduce the speaker. Before that, I will just say a word about him, that he is an artist who many people want to listen to. And we had been, Dr. Ajay Kumar had been in touch with him for quite some time, and finally we were able to fix a time when he could come and talk to us. Mr. Sri Bose, Krishnamachari, is artist, curator, scenographer, and I very warmly welcome you on behalf of Literate and the Institute of English. Dr. Ajay Kumar, well, I don't know how proper it is for me to welcome him formally to this meeting because Sir's program. Dr. Ajay Kumar, Sir has been taking Literate along all these years after Dr. P.K. Rajan's sad demise, and the Literate, which is now known across India as a very valued journal, goes on because of him. And Sir has been meticulously working on all aspects in taking Literate beyond a journal into a cultural icon, initiating programs of various kinds. Warm welcome. Along with Sir, I have to mention Dr. Kalyani, who again has been a pillar of strength to Literate all these years, along with Sir. And Dr. Kalyani, Dr. Sudhi, and her entire team is here, helping us in many ways. A warm welcome to Kalyani. Teachers of the Institute of English, Dr. Hariharan, Dr. Sujan, Dr. Lakshmi Priya, Dr. Lakshmi Suruma, Dr. Vishnu, and I believe Dr. Apu is also here. A warm welcome to all my colleagues to this lecture, and the students of the Institute of English who are here. For many, this would be a first time program happening in this chamber. Or we had a book release. So welcome to this talk. This is a yearly event. I hope to see you in the coming years as well. So welcome to the students of the Institute of English. And Literate editorial team. We have members from the advisory committee, Dr. Thomas Virula is here. Then editorial members are here, Dr. Chitra, Dr. Deeva, Dr. Sanjita, all other friends associated with Literate on a daily basis. Welcome to all of you. There are valuable guests here. Professor Hari Krishna is here, Dr. Ananda is here, and Dr. Neeta is there, and many other friends, Dr. Ligi is here, and our Kavita is here, and all friends here, and many more are to come. a very, very warm welcome to everybody, and we'll go ahead with the lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for that warm welcome. I now request Dr. P.P. Ajay Kumar, Professor Emeritus, Institute of English, former Pro Vice Chancellor of the University of Kerala, to deliver the presidential address. He is also the Chief Editor of Literate and has been nurturing the journal's growth for over 2 decades. Welcome, sir.
So, respected chief guest of today's program, Bose Krishnamachari, who is well known as an artist and as a curator, and the staff members of the Institute of English, Dr. Lal, who is in charge of HOD today, Dr. Hariharan, Lakshmi Priya, and Lakshmi Suguma. I always forget her name. Lakshmi Suguma, Vishnu, and anybody else? Dr. Sujakuru, and editorial board members, Dr. Kalyani and Chitra, Deepa, Sanjida, and our very old friend, is not very old, but friendship is very old, Hari Krishna, and Anand Godfrey, who has designed the logo of the Golden Jubilee, which is going to be released today. And dear research scholars, teachers, dear students, and I think a lot of others also have come. So I am really happy that we have got a very good attendance today. Dr. P.K. Rajan Memorial Lecture is being conducted every year, but this year it was very late. Usually we conduct it in January, February or March. This year what happened was that actually we conducted Bose Krishnamachari quite in advance, but at that time he was not available. He was traveling all over the world, and finally we could get him only in November, and that is why it is in November, because we were very particular that he should deliver the memorial lecture this year. And this year is extremely important also because as Dr. Lal has already pointed out, Literate is closing 50th year. 2025 is the 50th year of its establishment, and so we are planning a year-long celebration to mark the occasion. And so this will be a kind of a beginning of the long celebrations that is going to come. Anyway, it is extremely important for a literary journal published from India to complete 50 years, because we have seen many journals that dies within 1 or 2 years, that may continue for 9 or 10 years, or maybe maximum 20 years or 25 years, but 50 years is certainly a landmark, and we feel that it has to be celebrated. And now we understand that literature and literary studies have undergone several transformations. Now I think literary studies is actually a little obsolete, because now everybody speaks about culture studies, etc. Even though Literate retains its name, actually we are promoting a lot of articles and contributions belonging to other disciplines, that means many other disciplines, and culture studies is certainly one of the thrust areas of the journal. There is a kind of contributions that we get is certainly from very different disciplines, not just literature. But it continues to be Literate, which is the original name of the journal. As we all know, Dr. P.K. Rajan actually started this journal way back in 1975 in Trivandrum. He was at that time working in Tamil Nadu, and but he published the journal from Trivandrum and printed it in a press in Trivandrum. And Dr. Ayyappa Padikar and many others were part of it. They all supported his effort. And we went through several kinds of tests and several kinds of problems, both financial and academic issues, but Litcrit was able to cross all these problems and continue its publication. And he published the journal for long 30 years, because it was in 2006 that he met with an accident and died at an early age. And after that, we decided to continue the publication of the journal, just because this will be the best kind of memory that we can have about Dr. P.K. Rajan. So the best way to keep up his memory will be the continued publication of the journal. And that was the decision that we made, even though it was very difficult at that time for us to continue the publication. Lot of financial problems were also there, but we succeeded in continuing its publication, and it is, to a certain extent, it is being published regularly. And so this is the 18th memorial lecture. I am not going to spend a lot of time, because Sri Bose Krishnamachari is ready for his presentation. But before the presentation, we are planning the release of the logo and a felicitation of Sri Anand Godfrey, who has designed the logo. We will finish it in 1 or 2 minutes. So anyway, thank you all for coming, and special thanks to Institute of English for collaborating with us. So we find that this collaboration and the support will continue for us for the coming year also, because in 2025 we are organizing several other programs to mark, as I already said, the 50th anniversary of Litcrit. And the 100th issue of the journal will be released in December 2025. That will be another landmark that we are going to achieve. So, with great pleasure, I would like to invite Sri Bose Krishnamachari to release the logo. The logo is ready, and I think the editorial board members can also come to the stage.
Audio permission.
There will also be a small felicitation ceremony. Mr. Godfrey, who designed the logo. So we move on to this speaker today, Mr. Bose Krishnamachari, is a renowned artist and curator and co-founder and president of the Kochi Students Biennale. He has been instrumental in transforming Kerala's cultural landscape and placing India prominently on the global art map. His dedication to mentoring emerging artists and curators has earned him global recognition. I now invite Mr. Krishnamachari to deliver the 18th P.K. Rajan Memorial Lecture on the topic, Every School Should Be an Art School. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Give me 1 minute, please. Very good afternoon. It's a good time for a nap. My name is Bose Krishnamachari. I was born in a small village in Kerala near Angamali, a place called Mannatagara, a beautiful place. Age of 23, I left Kerala and went to study Fine Arts at Sir J.J. School of Art. Received first rank, first class first. Whosoever gets first rank, get an opportunity to teach. So I taught 1 year at Sir J.J. School of Art. On an April Fool day, I was rusticated from the college as well. While critiquing the institute and a publication, so the reflection was something like a fool's day. I had to get out from there. And it was a very, very good moment in a way that you take challenges in your life to make yourself a better human being or a better creative person. If I was saying that I was born in a small village, a Malayalam medium student, could create or build a career with success internationally, nationally and locally, then everybody could possibly make it happen. Basically, you make your life great. You are the boss of your life. I always used to tell students that don't follow your master. Don't follow your gurus. You are so it will take time to maybe, as Rajan said, there is enlightenment. Once it is enlightened, you are enlightened forever. Right? There is no need of second enlightenment. This is one of my favorite filmmaker, a statement taken it from Andrei Tarkovsky's Sculpting in Time. I also studied film appreciation course at Film Institute of Pune. That's the time I got to know Winsley. During the time of the vacation period, I used to go to study something or the other. This was 1 month long study at Film Institute. Was incredible. A book read by 1,000 different people is 1,000 different books. This is what exactly I'm going to tell or show. You are also going to perceive the same way. I think that different perspectives come from different angles. My perspective is not necessarily the right one. It's almost like a bird view for me right now, for you a frog view. So the perception, perspective, everything is according to you, going to change. And welcome to my small non-academic conversation or talk with you. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this Dr. P.K. Rajan's Memorial Lecture. Numerologically, 18 is an interesting number. 50 is an interesting number. So I'm sure you'll remember me some way or the other. Thank you so much, Mr. Jayakumar, for inviting me to be part of this lecture. I'm also quite bad with names. My memory is short. The chip is very small. As a visual artist, I practiced many things. At age of 17, I was not well for some time, 4 to 5 years. I was in hospital, in and out. That period of time, I learned classical music, Bharatanatyam, and also practiced amateur theatre like Samuel Beckett's play and others, Ionesco onwards, many others. I felt that it is important that if you know one medium very well, you could easily understand other languages, other verticals, easily you can receive it. Unless until you are not receptible, nothing is going to affect. I always believe that you have to be like a mirror. For everyone, it is a reflector. A mirror is a reflector. But I believe that a mirror is a receiver. It receives everything in front of you. It's almost like you are inhaling and exhaling whatever in front. So for me, my learning is also come from receiving many perspectives, many angles, many colors, textures in life. As a visual artist, I would like to take you to what are the kind of beats surrounded with artists. For an artist, if you want to be an artist, doesn't have to go to a college, I believe. Everybody is some ways self-taught people. Artist needs, like academically we look at it or practically when we look at it, art institutions play an important role. Aesthetics and movements part of educational systems are important. For example, for me, there are many isms in more than thousands isms in visual art. Conceptualism, surrealism, minimalism, maximalism, many other verticals in the schools of movements. I believe libraries and cafes are important in cultivating life learning or cultural learning. Why I am saying this, I don't have images here to say, but I would say that, when I was studying in JJ School of Art in Bombay, one side it was Applied Art Institute, other side it was Printing Technology, and the third one was Architectural Space, and the fourth one was Fine Arts. In the center part of it, there was a beautiful cafe. I won't say beautiful, but it was a kind of lovely space to have conversations. I used to meet a lot of architecture students in fact. Some of them become stars of architectural spaces in India and internationally known figures. The same way filmmakers like Gitanjali Rao, she was an applied art student. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Gitanjali's works. She's a graphic filmmaker, animation filmmaker, and also one of the best contemporary filmmaker from India. Like that, many figures, I don't want to go into the names of it, but publications, as Dr. P.K. Rajan, his publications, it is very important, like visual art. When I was looking at it in 2000s or early 80s and 70s, there was a publication called Arts and Ideas. Arts and Ideas never, after a few few years of publications, it failed to sustain. So it's art and literature based publications are rarely seen in, all the other practices are coming together and publications come together. That's very limited. I would say that like in arts and ideas used to discuss about film, theatre, architecture, design, the same way philosophy, etc. For an artist, it is important to have commercial galleries or galleries for exhibiting artworks. And who is the curator? Curator is actually like like a director. I would say early years used to know as a curator is supposed to be known as who takes care of objects of museums. Within the museum there are objects. Who are taking care of that objects are known as curators. Now, last 20 years, the name curatorial, the title, owned by many curators around the world right now. There is also curatorial courses in different parts of the universities. You can also find in UK and also started in some of the universities in India as well. And art collectors, for me, is very one important aspect that gives you confidence if the collectors are there, if the patrons are there. There is a difference in between art fairs and biennales. Art fairs is a place for commercial spaces where art exhibited and bought and sold and things like that. Auction houses, they take care of an artist's artwork, value. Some of the artists must be living artists are, some of the artists sell their work in 2 lakhs that become 50 lakhs, or in the auction houses how it is. Sometimes it's kind of a dangerous situation that an artist is selling their work in 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs, may not sell it in auction. So that's kind of auction houses play sometimes as a kind of patron, but sometimes as a killer. It's important to have foundations and museums. There are so many foundations out supporting contemporary culture, contemporary music, contemporary painting, and programs. Like there is IFA in Bangalore, there is Coach International. It's a kind of I forgot the names of some of the organization, but there are support comes from different institutions like that. Very important to have festivals. I'll talk about the festivals when it comes to the Biennale. And Biennales and Trinales, Manifesta, Document, and all, I'll talk about it. I represent the Kochi Biennale Foundation. Presently, I am the president of the Kochi Moses Biennale. When we started this Biennale, the idea of Biennale was originated in Mumbai at my home. Then Culture and Education Minister of Kerala had visited my home. After many conversations, he wanted to raise the funds for higher educational students, and he was looking for 100 crore to raise through art auction. I have disappointed him. I told him that it will take a couple of years to put it together something if you really want to have an auction and things like that. Since he was at my place, I told him there are very successful artists living close to my home, and I asked him whether he would like to meet them or not. And they're also from Kerala. Names like K.V. Santosh, Jyoti Basu, Riaz Komu, and many others. Since he was in Borivali, the place where I live in, a place in Mumbai called Borivali, and he was staying 1.5 hours away from my home, and he was flying back to Trivandrum the next day. So we requested him, we suggested him, why don't we stay back, we can have a nice evening with all our friends. He stayed back. That evening, we said, you are all very successful artists. What is the best thing can be offered to the state? You are very successful, what is the best thing can be offered to the state? Our reply was, it was not sudden, but many thoughts. Rajan, myself suggested a Biennale would be the right thing to do. What is a Biennale? Biennale is an Italian word. It means every other year or 2 years, every 2 years it comes. Biennial in English. The first biennial was opened in Venice in 1895. 125 years plus, And it is mother of all the kind of biennales. There are quite a lot of countries participate in it. They have their own pavilions, exhibitions areas and things like that. In a biennial, for me, a biennial is a temporary museum project. It's almost like a museum, but it is a temporary project. In the biennial, in contemporary visual art biennial, there are many mediums being used by artists: drawings, graphic prints, painting, ceramics, sculpture, photography, video art, digital art, assemblage. Assemblage means it doesn't mean medium, but it is kind of put together artworks or painting or sculpture put together. You can call it assemblage. Cinema, installations, writing, site-specific projects, performance art. Performance art is not theatre. I'm talking about it's kind of different. Set becomes almost like the same kind of practice, but it's a kind of purified form, or it can originate on any site at any time, that kind of thing. And also some of them are programmed performance art. You can see graffiti, public art, augmented reality, VR, 3D printing, glasswork, architecture, also part of it, graphic design. Gastronomy is also some of the curators bring gastronomy into curatorial space. Carpentry, game design and level design, theatre, puppetry, graphic novels, and screen printing, music, animation, fashion design, artwork. And it continues. Some of the artists also work with internet. The email art also, some of the artists are working on. So it's kind of always transformed from one to the another. There is nothing is permanent, I believe. And that is what is happening in art. How we can, like when we are talking about, since it is an educational space, I would say that how we can make it a place more interesting and really, really interesting through lots of programming. Program play one of the most important role. Thank you so much, Ajay Kumar sir, for inviting me to be one of that. I would say that program, when I was studying in Goldsmiths College in London, I had this opportunity to invite 9 figures. I could suggest 9 people. They could be collectors, they could be gallerists, or a philosopher, curator, artist. These kind of figures I suggested, 9 of them, and I could have one conversation with these experts in different practices. So I was lucky to have it from the University of Goldsmiths University of London. Amazing, amazing thinkers and practitioners I met in those period of time. Exchange programs are very important when it comes to learning. We had Kochi Biennale Foundation have exchange programs with international cultural institutions like Goethe Institute, British Council, Royal Venture, all these kind of institutions, cultural institutions support artists and writers, curators to travel and work in different cities, different residency places or institutions. And that's an important aspect when it comes to learning. I remember which was lacking in Sir J.J. School of Art, but some of the professors at Baroda School in known for Vadodara's MS University is known for exchange programs in the early years, like because of the professors who are really well thought about or bringing different figures from different parts of the world, and the students are also got opportunity to go and study in Royal College of Art in London or other places because of the programming of the institute. So I think these things are very much important when it comes to cultural learning or learning from different sites and different institutions. Travel makes lots of interesting perspective development. Build workshops and exchange programs, travel and research awards, master mentorships, studio fellowship, all this is part of that kind of programming. One of the best thing Kochi Biennale is done, I believe that other than the Kochi Students Biennale, the second vertical of the Biennale Foundation is called Students Biennale. Students Biennale we opened in 2024. We had around 37 art-related government-run colleges from all around India, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. The same way then it is developed, and also our idea was to give opportunities for young curators to learn and practice. So we given an opportunity for 15 young curators to curate these 37 art colleges. Students of masters, students of BFA. So we had around nearly 256 students in the first edition of the Biennale. So we brought them, they lived in 7 days, they were in Kochi, installed their work and went back. Next year we had 57 art colleges in 2016 from all around India. 2020 we had artists from abroad. Also we brought the students from there. So it's continuously we are learning from each edition. We try to implement something better for educational system. And also in between we organize workshops for students in different cities with the help of the experts. So these are the curators we given opportunities. So some of them are artists. Faisal Hassan is a young artist, lives and works in Hyderabad. So the artists are also from Kashmir group. Is also young, 6 to 7 people work together. There are collectives nowadays. You can find that a lot of collectives work together. Community building is for them. It's a kind of new schools of practice is that community building. With the help of regional and local people. There's a couple of images from the visual art exhibition. Biennial Foundations, another vertical is we have something called Let's Talk. Let's Talk is like the conversations, a curated, organized, curated talks. We organize it every now and then. That is, it's a year-long program. It's not necessarily during the time the biennial is a curated talks will be there with the curatorial vision, and exhibitions and artists are also brought in and conversations are made in. This has been going on for a long time. It's also programmed by the program director of the Students Biennale Foundation. For example, the title of the, some of the talks, the City as Artist Studio, the School of Everyday Practice as Pedagogy. So there's so many workshops being, like conceptualized and put together. This is my personal project. While I was studying in Sir J.J. School of Art, I was curious to know what is happening in the city, what kind of books are published internationally, nationally, what kind of journals are in India and things like that. Unfortunately, none of the great, like for art, for example, Art Forum, I could not find Art Forum in my library in J.J. School of Art, or many other publications. So these are the magazines really given us kind of what is going on internationally. So I used to pick up magazines from the streets of Mumbai, some of the, quite a lot of things I learned from the streets of Mumbai. One was, absurdity in the ultimate sense that, people are sitting on books. As I found it very kind of knowledge is lying on the streets, and its death itself is found on the streets. At the same time, you pick up some of the magazine and books from the streets. In 1996, I have donated my personal collections to books and journals to this small institute in Mahi called Kalagram. Since 1996, I was collecting books, DVDs from around the world, hand-picked books. And so when I say around the world, from Brazil, from China to UK, from everywhere. So wherever I traveled, I picked up books on art, design, fashion, photography, any other subject other than novels and things like that. Of course, novels and things like that, you get it in Kerala much, even before publishing it in Latin America, we'll get books or novels and things like that in Kerala, which is a great thing. I used to pick up books also, 5 rupees, I remember in, I've forgotten, for bath books, like in truck, it goes to villages and roads. By those period of time, I was interested in reading Chekhov or, people like Mayakovsky and things like that. I used to get it, and also interested in the Leftian practice. So that time is gone, but later when I wanted to have a contemporary awareness on visual art, there was nothing much even in Mumbai. There was a small bookshop, beautiful one. I used to go on the mezzanine floor and check it out, browse it over because I didn't have the funds to buy it. So immediately browsed through the design books, art books, and all that kind of architecture, etc. And I felt that why not create a temporary library for public, for my collection of books and DVDs. I had 1,800 DVD personal collection, that is interviews with architects, interviews with philosophers, artists, etc. And the same way the books and the shelf are all designed, modular furniture designed. My father is a carpenter. We call it carpenter, but in contemporary terms we call them design. We never called them, I never called my father as a designer, but he had incredible taste of making things. So which maybe I used it in my ability to create furniture. So this was shown in Mumbai, it was a traveling show, and it was amazing. I had 12 monitors for television monitors. All the time it was filled with enthusiasts, students from different practices. You know, some of them are literature students, some of them are film goers and all those kind of things. So it was fantastic to see them. And it was traveled to Baroda, traveled to Kolkata, Delhi, and other cities in India. And Kochi thrice. I showed in Kochi 3 places. Finally, it was in Bombay. Came back to, I had a gallery as well in Mumbai. Sustained only for 2 years, just before the Biennale came up. After the Biennale, I used to have 2 other partners. One was Birla, and the one was Devanshi Mehta. The gallery was called BMB, Bose, Mehta and Birla. Nobody knew what's the full form of it. I never revealed it also, but after this closing down, we can talk about it, right? So these places I showed these incredible response. Still I get it whenever I go for, some place or the other, people say that library taught me so much. And yesterday I was talking to my curator friend who curated that the present project is happening at the Portus exhibition. We have about 18,000 square feet of space in Calicut, designed and exhibited. So that curator Sujit was saying that your library, I used to go there and sit 1 month and learned it with other friends. So these kind of experiences, I think library, reading, seeing, play, really an important role for. So I think it is an important thing, and surrounded with this. So when I talk about these libraries, temporary library, once it is permanent, everybody take it for granted. So it is existing there. Maybe I'll go tomorrow or day after. So you leave it. Here it is the kind of immediacy, urgency to know about things. If you are curious and inquisitive, it is better to have a temporary project than permanent projects. The galleries are also interesting because I would say contemporary art galleries every month, every 45 days, new exhibitions will come. The same thing about museums as well. I know this. Some of you must have heard my previous lecture in your college, but this time I felt that I'll use very little images and talk about what is essential, but we can have a conversation than the lecture. It is not a lecture, it is not an academic lecture, it is a straight talk from my, it's a fluid way, I haven't structured my talk, but it is like what comes to my mind and sharing it with you. This is one of my favorite statements by Tom Marioni. The act of drinking beer with the friends is the highest form of art. I don't know how many of you agree with it. Once you're light, it is easy to have conversations. We can take out to that beer pot, we can add maybe coffee, we can add fresh lime soda, we can add maybe tea. It is very important to have conversations with friends and family, your parents. It's very important nowadays you have conversations with your mobile. You have a 6-inch or 4-inch or 3-inch mobile that carries all the information. But I believe that is only information. As Einstein mentioned, information is not knowledge. It cannot, what is important is to have conversations face to face. And this man, Tom Mariani, is a conceptual artist. He invites his friends every Thursday to his studio. I was fortunate enough to meet him at his studio in 1996. I have received one of the best awards someone can get. It was called the Mid-American Excellence Award. And I had an opportunity to meet with artists, architects, writers. And I traveled from Washington to Chicago to Atlanta, Santa Fe, LA, San Francisco, and New York. All these places, what I learned is look around the museums, meeting with the directors of the museum, or meeting with one of the greatest architects like Frank Gehry. For architects, he's like a god, right? So for me, these kind of diverse practitioners coming into life and their thoughts, as I said in the beginning, different perspective learned from others was one of the most beautiful things. That given me confidence and courage to do anything if I'm doing it today is with that kind of information given and knowledge shared by others. So that wealth of knowledge, I am here with you. It not necessarily my perspective is right, but it is important to have conversations. Definitely you should have cafeterias somewhere near your university, your buildings, your home. Like one of the best ideal university was conceived by Tagore under the tree of, in Shantiniketan. Whenever I go to as a visual art practitioner, I had visited this place. You feel like that vision still means a lot. And strongly, I believe all schools should be art schools. When I talk about this statement or artwork by Bob and Robert Smith, all schools should be art schools means I'm talking about freedom. Freedom is not given by anybody. Freedom, you take freedom from everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you all of you. Mr. Kumar, Doctor, everybody's doctor here. All doctors, thank you very much for inviting me here. If you have any questions, I'm happy to.
We now open the floor for an interactive session with Mr. Bose, Krishnamachari.
So we have moved a long way from the classics, the canons, to the kind of art that you have dedicated, which is in the form of conversation, which is everyday language, which is collaboration and interaction. I totally accept and agree to it. But in practical life, art is what sells, what gives a new perspective and shocks people. If you do something that other people have already done, no, that's not art enough. How do you strike the balance? Because everybody here, in that sense, is an artist. But you are also a person who has seen the other side of it. It is not as easy as you say, isn't it?
I agree. I do agree that, and I learned it from, there's a legendary artist said, his name is Joseph Bose, a German artist, a performance artist, and also a kind of sculptor. Also done many installation work. Joseph Bose said everybody is an artist. I think I agree. Everybody can become an artist, but not everybody is an artist according to me. I believe that the aesthetic cannot be taught. When it comes to aesthetic, it cannot be taught, but it could be imbibed if you create places and places. When I can talk about places, galleries, performance spaces. So we need to have more and more places for learning, sites. That sites we need to create. And also, as I said in the beginning, if I can become somebody, and I don't know how to, I don't know, still I don't know, I don't care about grammar, but I'll speak my language, right? I don't care about that. And I'm sorry that, you all respect, meticulously will be reading and, lines and, all that kind of stuff. But for me, what comes into my mind, it goes here and it's faster than light. Like yours, also imagination is faster than light, right? So that comes into, when it comes to creative spaces, if you are really passionate, if you are really committed, you can definitely make your life great and interesting. Life is so beautiful, but we are all crib, we are all, that's what I see it in art world in Kerala especially. There is no immediate answer to your question, but it is possible to be successful in every manner. I myself, I believe that if I can make it, everybody else can. It's possible. My inquisitiveness, my interest in knowing about things lead to places. For example, like when I was doing theatre, I was I was scared of facing public, and I was, I would forget all kinds of my things, finally I left my theatre. Here also I'm scared to speak with you people. Public speaking is not my thing, but I can talk about art. That language I know. I really took time to learn that, and I strongly believe that I don't follow anybody, that is why I could be somebody. And as Picasso said, if you know what you're going to paint, then there is no point in painting. Right? The same way about life, if you know if there is somebody, if you are a, foreteller or a prophet, then they cannot enjoy their life. ഒരു കൈനോട്ടക്കാരന് I don't think, or a face reader, എന്താണ് ഭാഗ്യം സംസാരിക്കുന്ന ഒരാൾക്ക് I don't think he can enjoy or she could enjoy the next day or next moment. If you know about everything about your life, then there is no point in living. That's what I believe. Every moment, if we can, an actor or an artist can give surprise in their life, in their performances, then we can say it is new. Yeah. So familiar things always, it's always boring. Yeah. The monotony comes in even marriage life is also because of that. So you need to find surprises. You have to give your husband or your boyfriend or or girlfriend. You have to give surprises, beautiful surprises. Then life will be more beautiful. It's not easy, but creativity means that everything is existing here. Everything is here. You transform that memory into knowledge and transform into according to the sight, according to the faith, you transform. I don't know. I have given you answer, but
Oh, you have.
thank you.
I have a question. So, do you think that one is born an artist, or do we imbibe it? As you mentioned, that sometimes don't you think that it is something that is gifted, or you can develop a taste with knowledge and with someone can be passionate, but even if your passion not every time translates into that particular art or that creativity. So, do you think it is gifted, or you can develop it or imbibe writing?
As I mentioned, everybody is a self-taught artist, self-taught. The taste, ma'am, you have put up, what is it called? Jumka, whatever. That's you picked up, right? And this taste making, even if you're putting a tikka, that's all your perspective. So each and every one is a designer in some way or the other. That design, that word itself is as the design. That's that word. If you dissect it, you get the meaning out of it. Design. Signed ones are existing. The memory, everything is existing is signed. God is signed. I don't believe in God anyway. But what I'm saying is that the memory has already his signature there. So you design every moment. That is what is called new, or new is design, I would say. So art, design and technology play an important role. As your readers of English, it's wonderful that your imaginations can take one place to the other. If you have interesting words, vocabulary, you can keep on writing, right? So develop those, there was one anecdote I like to say. I'm not a storyteller. Sorry if you don't get it, I'm sorry. Picasso studio, one young person visited, and he was painting. He was painting and sculpting. So she was watching him painting and sculpting and looked. Do you know Chinese language? She said, no. You want to learn? Then there is now I don't need to explain, right? There is possibility. So the same thing about art and literature, aesthetics, everything has its own language. There's so much can be done. New perspective can be brought. That is why we read new books, right? New cinema, new things are coming out because every perspective is wonderful. Sometimes I learned it from my life. There are two things. One is the chaos and order coexist in life. The extremities coexist in life. Maximalism coexists with minimalism. And like our visual art learning, cuisine edukaanengil, sadhya for me is a maximalist thing. That's a puttam idliyum and is a minimalist സംഭവമാണ്, right? അതുപോലെ തന്നെ white shirt അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വേഷ്ടി മുണ്ട്, it's all very minimalistic, but you can, at the same time you can see maximalist colors as well, right? So interesting places can be created with just a position of extremities and learn from that extremities. So everybody is born with the talent, but just nobody encouraged. I used to wonder my neighbors, my uncle, now they are uncle and all, they were beautiful. They used to draw beautiful things better than me, but nobody showed them the path, how to go, where to go, what to do. Nobody told me also. By accident, beautiful accidents, chance, I found one of my friends sent me a prospectus. That is one of the reason I went to Bombay. Once I received the Academy Award, I was a self-taught person. What I had exhibited also, I didn't know what does that mean. The style of practice was. Now I look back those drawings and painting which I got the award, state award. It was surrealist way of painting or drawing. I didn't know what was surrealism at that point. I was 22 years old. So my friend sent me a prospectus, said that why don't you come to Bombay there's an institute called KT School of Art. I went, I looked Jandi Jaradan, yeah. So there was freedom also. My parents accepted whatever I wanted to do it. Maybe because I fell ill for some time, resurrected from life. I was in coma. All that, you know. So death is beautiful also in some way. You know, nice sleep is. It's almost like a good sleep. Yeah. So I hope everybody is an artist. Can become. Yes, sir.
I really like the opening slide that you had when you talk about different readers and one
Yeah.
text. And that set me thinking, and I was wondering how colors look at you as a painter, and how do you respond to colors? The reason why I asked is also because you did mention surrealism, and of course your interest in the absurd. Right, so this is, I would like to listen to you on that.
I have to repeat. It's almost like, sir, I do different kinds of work. There's no image here, but most of the familiar work is, there's a series called Stretch the Bodies. I called it because there's also another anecdote to the title, Stretch the Bodies. Okay. There was a legendary artist, his name is Montreal. Pierre Montreal. Pierre Montreal's studio the same way somebody was looking at his painting. You know? He was painting. And if you wanted to know about his painting, it's like there are rectangular or square patches of colors in blue, yellow, and black. That kind of smaller works. So he was painting the black line or line, whichever line, he was painting multiple times, many times. And she was watching and she felt what he's doing, why is he painting so much and all that. They said, sir, why are you painting the same line again and again? And he said, I'm stretching this line. I really like that, you know. So this kind of title comes from there. And I didn't want to call a stretch to canvas. I felt that when I paint, I keep the canvas like this on a table, a longer table, a smaller table. And, I have about 40, 50 colors prepared in a month, like 40 mugs and different colors. And the white canvas, and I start painting. I don't program it, So it's a kind of listening to your music, your action, and actually color, if you know the medium, it dries very fast. So if you want to have freshness in color, you have to be really fast. So you have to really practice that. So it's almost like an action painting. You finish it in 1 hour or 2 hours, even whatever scale it is. And that's the way I paint. So maximalism comes from there, multiple colors, multiple form, texture. It's not programmed, but that moment where to stop. That is also, it's almost like music, listening to your music, classical music, where to stop, you don't know, but that comes, stop it. And opposite to that, as I mentioned in the beginning, I love mirror. I love darkness. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Darkness carries light. So when you think about what's the minimalist thing you can do in this world is create darkness or create white on white. So that's the most minimalist thing you can do. And I was, thinking about how blinds read things. How can I go to that level of blindness, getting meaning out of from the darkness? Then I started using braille language in my work. So that series is also there. Yeah. The text I use on larger scale, for example, la, with the trees, with dots, and it will like embossing on them. So the shadows also give the meaning to the surface. So these kind of extremities I was talking about, I really believe in life. Life itself is art, art itself is life. Thank you.
Think about modeling. I think Paul Klee also has something like this. My painting is taking line for a walk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's like reading. Well, reading is also, it doesn't have to be your imagination. Also go for a walk, go for a ride. Right? Yes, sir.
I have another the visuals you see. That is always there. Because I was writing a story about Picasso. When he was born, he was stillborn. And his parents pushed him under the pot. Thinking he was dead. And then one of his uncles comes there and he takes a cigar and starts smoking, and after a point he blows the smoke into Picasso's, the child's face, and immediately the child wakes up. So I'm arguing that that vision is perhaps one reason for the abstractness in Picasso's painting.
When we talk about Mondrian, I can go on talking about him because he's the one inspired by great designers like Le Corbusier to fashion designers and many others, and inspired from Mondrian's modernist painting. Picasso's Cubist period of paintings are also his friend Braque, his contemporary, used to paint the same kind of language. They wanted to create a three-dimensional on surfaces, two-dimensional surface. How do you create a three-dimensional? That's how Cubism originated. They are not abstract painters, but there is a lot of abstractions are also originated from these kind of thinking. And like Kandinsky, he was a musician, age of 30 plus, 33 or something, he started painting. So that one medium to the another, taken Kandinsky to the another level. That's I don't know how to answer your questions, but there are so many things to learn from that.
Just curiosity.
Yeah.
One more point. Like de-schooling, do you think that there should be something, I'm not sure the word is right, should there be something like de-arting?
I would say delete. De-schooling is deleting. Like from my mobile, there are so many images. What's the best thing is to delete. Why this mobile, Apple is successful? They knew how to make it most minimal object, and gives that minimal object carries lots of complex semantics. Apple design is actually, when Steve Jobs, for example, when he started his company, he didn't invite a technologist. He invited a designer from Royal College of Art. He said, Jonathan, I have changed the perspective of looking at design. Basically, if you look at IBM's computer and all, it's like massive. They brought it down to minimalism. Even the scale of it, also the language of style of creating that object is also minimalistic language. So there are so many things we need to start deleting, not de-schooling. I think schools are theories, but I think deleting, erasing is the best way to progress. There are so many new languages also can be found from that erasing. It's not easy. We are all obsessed by imageries. We are all obsessed by forms and innumerable forms, right? So maximum space we can give, void we can give, there are possibilities of growing. These
Is there any criteria for it? Give a briefing on it.
Sir, this is almost like love making. You cannot program love making. It happens. A great painting is also happens like that. You cannot program it, you cannot plan it. Yeah, so after making it, you can say that you can make meanings out of it. And abstract painting doesn't have any kind of meaning if you look at it. But there are forms people pick it up. For example, in childhood, when we look at the clouds, we used to make forms out of it. I could see a horse running, I could see flies and things like that. So it is all our imagination. It is our perspective. That's what I believe.
Sir, do you think that the artists are an endangered species? Because a lot of the generation AI. Because recently in New York, a painting done by AI was sold for $3 billion. Do you think that the physical artists are threatened species? Or like that? Are you endorsing it as an endangered species?
I always believe making with your hands are the greatest fun. I met the person who bought the first NFT. He's from Chennai. He doesn't have home, but he spent a lot of money. He lives in Singapore. That boy came to see the picture by me. I forgot his name. But it doesn't matter. There are much more valuable things are, Saudi Arabia. Prince, he bought one of the highest, 400 crore, 400 million, or billion, $400 million dollar worth art of the artist Da Vinci's painting. He bought it because he felt that people are going to Paris to see one Louvre museum, one object, one painting, the Mona Lisa. People are queuing up to see Mona Lisa. So he wanted the same kind of thing, so he wanted to make brand out of something. So these things are all, arguable, but this kind of strategies developed by, tourism people as well as, marketing people, advisors to the prince, advisors to, the same thing happened in India as well. Like India doesn't have the freedom in a way that we cannot bring contemporary arts to India. It's quite expensive. When I started my gallery in Mumbai, my idea was almost like a European football. You buy the best players and play with the local players, and they get much more opportunity. They get much more opportunity. That was my idea. But bringing the players is like you have to pay so much deposit in the customs. So the kind of rules are all right. Yeah.
Another question regarding when you choose the Andrei Tarkovsky sculpting book, Sculpting in Time.
Sculpting in Time.
Is it your bottom line or tagline?
Pardon?
Your bottom line or tagline?
Sir, the same way I loved so many other books, so many others. But I felt that this is the perspective when I was talking about it. How many of you are here? Maybe 100 plus 100. I don't know. And that 100 perspective is interesting, and 100 questions also must be having. And it is not my tagline. I don't follow anybody. I love them. So many friends I have, but I don't get obsessed by them. I have a daughter, I have a son, I'm not obsessed. I'm a painter, but I'm not obsessed by painting. If I don't paint also I survive. If I don't sculpt also I survive. So once you are obsessed with something, you're going to miss the point. You are not going to create anything. So I would say that, if you love something, keep little distance, whether you're wife or children or parents. But I'm not saying, even if you stretch it, it's going to break it. So keep little distance to see in wife. That will be much greater. Yeah.
Recently, a French said that life is a random complex whole, algorithm. Do you endorse that?
Yes and no. I don't know, but I can say yes and no. It's beautiful to hear as well. I explore that. I'll keep it in my mind, that statement. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, not to stir the pot, but as an artist, what's your take on the criticism that modern art has become too lazy or encourages mediocrity? Especially if you were on social media, that's how art is propagated in this century. Anyway, so if you were on social media, you'd see a lot of criticism about how, with regards to performance, visual art, especially, you see that it's become too in your face, too literal, too abstract. So, what would you say? How abstract is too abstract?
Ma'am, thank you. I found that there are things നമുക്ക് കഷണ്ടിക്കും എന്താ പറയാ കഷണ്ടിക്കും കുശുമ്പിനാണ് അസൂയക്ക് മരുന്നില്ല എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അസൂയക്ക് മാത്രം മരുന്നില്ല കഷണ്ടിക്ക് മരുന്ന് വെച്ചിട്ട് അസൂയാണ് എല്ലാത്തിൻ്റെയും പ്രശ്നം. If you are successful, you will be having so much of it. And I'm facing every day, every moment, but ignore it. Like you keep moving, keep working. Your work will take you to places. That's the only thing I'll tell my artist friends. Keep working and keep showing. Imagine, like in the Tortoise in Calicut words. I never believed that it will be kind of huge success. Exodus, I would say exodus. The people seeing this project, nobody is laughing at each other, but everybody is some way or the other looking at contemporary art. And there is a change. If you, that is imbibed from vinyl, Logametharawat, and other shows like that. I'm not saying I am the reason, but there are other people also doing the same thing. So many incredible Indian artists are there, Malayali artists especially. Opportunities. Yesterday I got a trash from a fellow from Trivandrum. He called me up in the morning around 10:30, 11. I was in Calicut in the gallery space. Said, I've been working last 25, 30 years. I have 25,000 drawings with me. You are ignoring me. You are, And, I told him humbly. I said there were 2 curators picked up 44 artists. I know there are thousands of artists are in Kerala. 44 artists got an opportunity to exhibit. With my advice, they have put together an exhibition. Everything is not, it's not possible to, we are not God. I mean, we are that kind of service place. I believe in curating. I believe in editing. That is what life is about. So many things, so many beautiful things are happening in this life, and surrounded by you, but you know what you are choosing. That unless until you choose it or taken it, you are not going to make anything out of it. Even while cooking also, you cannot put everything like an avial in one thing, right? That taste making is also important, right? So there is a chance chance in everything. There is accidents are also good in some ways. My life taken me in that direction because of that. So I don't have an answer to that, but I believe keep working is most important.
Sir, in what way has your art evolved over the years?
I haven't done much last 12 years, other than creating shows for others, I haven't done a solo show. My solo show was, last one was in Kolkata. It was called The Mirror Sees Best in the Dark. That was kind of, I used to make a lot of millions in my life. And my wife always complains, says that, she maybe changed my life altogether, put me into upside down. Economically, I was doing extremely well, but I'm not complaining. But I think giving your own time for creating. I have a studio in Mumbai. Once in a while go and work there. So even for me, this Calicut project is also one of my work, I would say. It's not painting, but it's kind of whole thing, building for public. It's kind of responsibility of taking it up. Work like that.
Thank you for that enlightening session. I would like to ask you about the consumption of art. Is it possible for everybody with a passion for art to develop themselves in art? Because there exists a rift or a divide between people. Everybody may not have access to cafes or such places which nourish art, as you were talking, like encouraging and enabling spaces that promotes art and art discussions and art discourses. But is it possible for everyone with a passion for art to actually grab it because of this divide that exists beside all motivations and interest for art?
I can get your question in a way that can you just minimalize it, make it
Is it accessible to all? Is there
accessible to everyone?
everyone?
Art.
Because many factors involved in it, like
Yeah. It is.
everything to purchase or to
You
learn.
don't need to collect everything in this life. Like suppose I like this mustache, I love it, but I don't need to have it. The same way I'm looking at somebody, I like it, I love it, but already I bought it. I love it, I bought it. Without knowing that person, I bought it.
And sir, it's not just about purchasing this talking, but learning.
Possessing or learning.
No, sir, but about
Learning.
knowing and accessing and
It is
learning.
absolutely possible. Absolutely possible. Learning is, it is possible everywhere that you can find out. In this room, this object is art. It is design. This is design, but we sensitized ourselves with this design. How it is the thing. That's the way people look at it. But I had learned it from my childhood. Like at my room, used to be dark room. In Kerala, a small room. I used to change my reading places. My table, small table, I placed it in another corner and see where is the light coming from. If I'm a left-hand writer, I would have put my light on the right side. Yeah? Where is the light coming from? Where is the air passing through? All this is at home you can start, Your cooking thing or your sketching, everything has, there is something or the other aesthetic should be implemented. That aesthetic, you don't need to talk about it, but you imbibe it without knowing. You are an artist but I don't know to say that. Like, it is possible with everyone, each and everyone. But we have never tried to sensitize ourselves that what is beauty doesn't mean that, colors and things that it has so many meanings. There's no one way of school for that. There are hundreds and thousands of perspectives to it. Yeah? Still not satisfied. I know.
What he's asking is, suppose a student wants to study the canonical works, Picasso, for example. Picasso is about the real colors, the texture. How can a student access it except through copies and imitations? No, the highest art is inaccessible to ordinary people like us. I think that's what she was.
That's not true. Nowadays, like of course when we are studying, we also had historically when we look at it, 1968 we used to have something called Trinale in India. Trinale means every 3 years, Biennale means every 2 years. Trinale was also started by the legendary critic and writer, fortunately I met him, Rajan. P.K. Rajan, so talking about left-hand thinking and practice. So anyway, coming back to this, I wanted to see original artwork, right? So, original international practices, if you wanted to see, you had to go to Delhi and see during the time of the Trinale. Now you had an opportunity to see it in the Biennale, international thinking as well as practice. The original stuff you can see. You may not be able to see Picasso, but you can also bring Picasso. It's no difficult thing. Unless until you believe in it, We changed that place in Medical Academy space. Now we have incredible shows coming from different parts of the world. So there are possibilities. You can. I never thought I'll be flying. You can also, you think it is possible to find. It may not be the right the next day, but if you're passionate, things will happen. It will come to you, but not get obsessed on it. Don't follow. I would say that keep that passion, commitment, vision. You can definitely reach that space. Done. കുറച്ച് ആൾക്കാരൊക്കെ ഉറങ്ങിയിട്ടുണ്ട് സുഖമായിട്ട് ഉറങ്ങി താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച് അതാണ് അവരുടെ ബ്യൂട്ടിഫുൾ പീപ്പിൾ
To become an artist, to become an artist is an inborn talent, inherent. Everyone cannot acquire it, give an explanation of it.
Sir, ഞാൻ മുമ്പ് പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ that Joseph Boyce പറഞ്ഞത് everybody is an artist. But I am saying everybody can become an artist. Everyone can become. അത് പ്രാക്ടീസ് മാത്രമാണ്. അത് മ്യൂസിക്കിന്റെ കാര്യത്തിലായാലും പെയിന്റിങ്ങിന്റെ കാര്യത്തിലായാലും even if it is painting, sculpting, music, theatre, everything comes from practice. Visual as well as hear, reading, all this is through. It is possible. Everybody can become an artist. Everybody can.
I think we can now move on to the final part of today's event. Thank you so much, sir, for answering all the questions.
Doctor, thank you so much. All of you, thank you, Rajan, sir, for inviting me to be part of this lovely session. You can still ask me questions, okay? after the talk of poverty. Drinking beer with friends is the highest form of art. The act of it. No, I wouldn't encourage that. Huh? Have coffee.
Thank you, Mr. Krishnamachari, for sharing your thoughts and expertise on art education. We are deeply grateful for your insights. Thank you also for sharing your valuable time and wisdom with us. To formally acknowledge and express our gratitude, I now request Dr. Kalyani Wallach to deliver the vote of thanks. Dr. Kalyani Wallach is the CEO of Wallach Education. She is a distinguished scholar, entrepreneur, and innovator, and a beloved teacher to students all over the country. She has also been closely associated with LitCrit and has been working as its associate editor.
Dear sir, and all distinguished guests, I was listening to Mr. Krishnamachari's lectures online and looking at the paintings that are available online, and it has been a relentless journey of the same ideas he has put together in his paintings, the amalgamation of all kinds of creativity, as he himself has said elsewhere. As an educator, a teacher, I found this to be a great inspiring idea, because we're all talking about cooperation, collaboration, integration, about lifelong learning and creative learning as well. So this 50th anniversary of LitCrit and this 18th P.K. Rajan Memorial Lecture seems to be just the right time for us to recalibrate our ideas and learning and think about all that we've done and we will be doing. Like from his lecture, we must have got a new way of looking at ourselves and this world, and a new vision, a new imagination. It was amazing to sit here and listen to his slow-paced talk and think, imagine, and also to interact. Thank you very much, sir, for this opportunity. I'm so glad that we have this day with you. My duty is to deliver a vote of thanks. We have to start with the distinguished Department of English of the University of Kerala. We have always been, LitCrit has always been collaborating with them in various ways. Thank you so much, Dr. Meenakshi Pillai, Dr. Hariharan, Dr. Sujapuru, Lakshmi Square, Dr. Vishnu, Dr. Prabhu, every one of you, and especially all the students and research scholars of the Institute of English for being with us today. LitCrit is a big family, started by Dr. P.K. Rajan, his own family, his wife and son and daughter who is no more, and a lot of people who have always, from the very beginning, been with us as subscribers, as writers, as collaborators, people attending the conferences that LitCrit has conducted. It's a wonderful get-together every time that we have here. There is no words to thank all of you for always being there with LitCrit. We are all the same family. Thank you. Now, there has been a special presence of another family in LitCrit journey, that is the family of the Godfreys. From the 1980s, Sri Godfrey has been, the father of the young Godfrey here, has been with LitCrit, giving us all kinds of assistance in typesetting and designing and giving the cover design, cover page, everything in every way. Thank you so much. Anand here has done a very good job with the logo. and it's going a long way because it has to take us forward for 1 year. Thank you very much. I should especially thank the authorities of the University of Kerala and the Senate Chamber for providing us all the help and assistance required, and each and every one of you, especially the team that has come from my own Institute of Education. We have Mr. Anand Haridas, who's not here right now, but he's behind the animation of the logo and the various things that Litcrit has planned for the next 1 year. My husband Sudeep has been doing the digitization of the copies, and our friend Ziaul Haq, who's the designer at Balad, has been doing the website. I'm so happy that we've been able to contribute so meaningfully, and our entire academic team is here, including Dr. Rushdi. So we will be with Litcrit and all of you to do all the amazing steps that the plans that we have made will be helping everyone to fulfill. Thank you all of you once again, and we'll meet again because there are lots of wonderful goodies in Litcrit bouquet in the basket. So I hope you will all be with us again very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kalyani. Thank you all for being part of this event. Please do join us for tea outside. Thank you.